Okay, moving on. Yesterday I went through a couple of bits that I'd said about that I'd found really useful finding out how to do a few things. Another one that is quite a useful one is this one here. If you can actually put the cursor at the end of a line, hold down the Alt key, and you can move that line of code wherever you want to move it to. And that's another really useful key that can save you a few minutes. Anyhow, what are we going to do today? Today we're going to do some the most important primitive variables declarations that you can make and use. So this is things like, make a little bit of space, we can do these are built in int, so we don't need to add an include, and we can do something like this. And so what you're basically doing is you're putting that number 68 into the variable age, and then what we could do there, we could come down here into our bit here, and then we need to add a couple of angle brackets, and then we can simply write age, and all that does is that literally concatenates that together, so it adds the hello, the name which is got from the line above, and then the age which we've set up here. So if we now run that, we should be able to get that print out with the age included. I haven't run this morning, so it's going to take forever to load and build. There we go. So there we go. Wasn't that simple? Gets a lot harder from here, but anyhow. So this int is a what they call a signed int. Get a little bit technical here. That means you can do a minus just over 2 billion, and you can do a plus of just over 2 billion, which is really big numbers. I'm not too sure when you use numbers that big, but you can just do that. If when that comes up like that and it offers you a solution to that thing, you literally just press the tab key and it'll include it. If you don't press the tab key, it ignores it. You can do something called an unsigned int. Oh, which will basically, it's exactly the same thing, but you can't go minus, you can only do positive on that, which means you can then go up to, I think it's just over 4 billion if memory serves correct. This was a long time ago when I learned about these bits. So you, like I said, when you use a number that big, I'm not too sure. I've been messing about with this now for 18 months and I've not come anywhere near to needing a number that big. But anyhow, so that's the first one, int, which is really important. You'll use that pretty much every time you do a bit of programming. The next one, which is a good one to know, especially if you spell it right, is char, which is basically a single character. So this is like, you use this for a single character, or a it doesn't necessarily need to be a letter, it can be a number, it doesn't need to be let's have a look. If we remember from yesterday's lesson, if we press Control D, we get a repeat of that line, and now we can use our Alt key to move that line of code down to where we want it. So we move that down there, and what we'll do, and this, it just saves you a little bit of typing, especially if you're slow like me, and I am slow at typing, it's painful. And then we can simply go, we'll leave a gap in there, and then after that we're going to want to do a couple of them, and then we can simply write key. And what we will get now is that key will come up in there, and we will print that out as the letter A. Okay, so we add something in there like that, and then we get the letter A printed. Equally, we could, if we wanted to, we could simply have that as, I don't know, it could be a number. It doesn't need to be a letter. In fact, let's do 65, because 65 is actually the number for A. That's the number that the computer uses for the letter A. So if we run that now, we should get 65 appear. There we go. Key is 5. Did I type that wrong? 65. Why did it only go to that? I don't know. Don't know what I've done wrong there. Anyhow, moving on, because my brain's not fast enough to work out what mistake I've made there. The next one that's really important to this, to doing anything on the computer, is float. We need float. I will get there one day. Float allows you to have like to do a point, so you can do 1.5. It needs the F on the end, because if you don't have the F on it, it becomes a double. If you hold your mouse over it, you'll find it becomes a double as opposed to a float. So it does need the, and it doesn't matter whether it's a lowercase or uppercase F, it can be either. And again, then we can do exactly the same again. We'll we go there, we can do the same there. Your position is, we're just printing it out, and then we're taking the position, so we put 1.5 into the position, and that will print that out. Last but not least of the 4 most important ones, in my opinion, I mean, there'll be loads of people that will argue that know far better than I do over this, but the next one that I think is really important is the boolean. We need that because this is used, you know, for, well, so many different things. As this goes along, you'll see boolean or bool used so many different places in so many different ways. You know, just from a simple thing where if you're, you know, say you were running a game, you need to be able to say whether it's running or it's not running, whether it started in, and this boolean is simply 1 and 0. So yes or no, on and off, true or false. And this gives a condition there of, if we go to actually I'm not going to do it that way because we haven't covered if statements yet, so that will be the wrong way to do it. So we need to do this and just put in there is running. Now we've set that to true, so we should, as long as everything's working correctly, we should get a number 1 appear on the screen from that. But these are the really important ones. These are the ones, well, and string obviously, which we've already done. I don't know why it is. Every time that comes up, I have to think what my name is to type in there. Oh, the beauty of old age. So there we go. Look, we've got the key was A, the position is 1.5, and I should have changed that to is running, but I forgot to. So, and it has come out as 1 because it's true. And if we change that to false and run the same thing, it will simply do. Oh, let's just get rid of that a minute. Not that it makes any difference for this purpose. So if we run that again, it will hopefully now produce a 0, which is what it's supposed to. There we go. So true or false, 1 or 0. 0 is false, 1 is true. Anyhow, that's the next little bit that I've done. I think that's these are the really important bits. Almost any code you look at, you go any little project that you look at, these int, char, float, boolean, and obviously string's a really important one because that's used in so many bits of it. But these are the important bits. You don't need an include file for them. They're built into the compiler. So anyhow, there we go. That's the next bit. Thanks for watching if you did.